Hey guys, what's up? It's Colin here. I just got back from visiting my girlfriend at her lake house because she's working at the lake this summer, and I was gonna upload a vlog and I shot some stuff. The internet speed at her apartment was like too slow to the point where I couldn't upload my 4K video clip. It's gonna be kind of difficult for me to, you know, upload a 4K video file because they're so much larger than 1080p. I can show up, probably gonna show a few clips in this.
All the day long, hopping and a bopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, tweet, tweet. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet. Slow rockin' Robin, 'cause we really gonna rock tonight. Every little swallow, every chickadee, every little bird in the tall oak tree.
Yeah, so that's kind of the reason I didn't upload yesterday, but I wanted to upload something today because I got an email from someone and they're asking me about the speed booster, and they're like, I don't understand what the speed booster is. I wanted to address what a speed booster is and what it does and kind of how it works. If you're not super into photography or videography or how anything works, you probably just want to like click away now because it's going to get a tad bit technical, but I'm going to try my best to explain it in the most layman terms possible. When you have a sensor, I'm going to start with literally the widest sensor possible, which I mean it's technically not the widest sensor possible, but if you think about a full frame camera, what does that mean? So if you think of something like the 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III, Canon 6D, they all have a full frame sensor. I'll do my best to like draw a box here. So they shoot complete, so let's say this box right here represents full frame. So that sensor is big. You know, that sensor creates shallow depth of field. Everything you shoot on that sensor with a lens is going to be wider, be able to see a bigger field of view because that sensor is bigger. So then you know you got another sensor, like let's say the APS-C sensors in the Canon T2i. I'll draw that. It's totally going to be off, but I'm just going to kind of like show it right here like on a box. And that sensor is 1.6 crop factor of a full frame sensor. So basically that sensor is more zoomed in. It's a smaller sensor and you don't get quite as much shallow depth of field, but it's still a big sensor and you still get good shallow depth of field. And then you take something like the Panasonic GH4 or my camera, the Panasonic G7, and you draw that sensor out, and it's still a little bit smaller still because the standard crop factor on the Panasonic GH4 is a 2.0 crop factor, so you know. So that's kind of the progression it goes, you know, full frame is a 1:1 ratio, 1.0 crop, and then there's actually something also in between a full frame and an APS-C sensor. There's a super 35mm sensor, and this is what most movies and like the Red Epic, the Arri Alexa, all those type of cameras, and like my Blackmagic Mini Ursa over there, they shoot on super 35mm sensors, which are a little bit bigger. They're in between basically a full frame and APS-C. It's at like a 1.3, 1.4-ish crop, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. I'll look it up and put it right here. But so that's a little bit bigger still, you know, a little bit more shallow depth of field, so you know the background is going to be blurrier. So you have all those different options when you're choosing a lens sensor. There's various different factors surrounding why you might want a certain sensor. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, my camera right here, it was a lot cheaper than, you know, a 5D or even the A7S Mark II that Sony sells. Those are full frame sensors, and you can't get as wide angle. And when you're vlogging, that's a really big deal because that's one of the, like, the most important things when you're vlogging is you want to have a wide angle view because, you know, you don't want to have to like crank your arm out. And when I have this lens right here on the Panasonic G7, my 14 through 40 kit lens, or my 14 through 42 kit lens, when I have that on there, it's just not really that great. I mean, it's sharp and it's 4K, but it's not really that wide angled. And for vlogging, that's a bigger deal than you might think. Or I guess it's just as big of a deal as that you would think. So basically, what this speed booster does is it's an adapter that screws in to your Panasonic G7 or GH4. There's different metabones adapters. I got the 0.64 times XL edition, which basically, so if you think about it, it's 0.64 times the current crop factor of the camera. So my Panasonic G7 when filming in 4K has a 2.3 times crop factor. So if you take that and multiply it by 0.64, and that'll be your new effective sensor size. And you know that makes it around a 1.47, which is super close to a super 35mm sensor. Basically what it does is it's bigger, it lets more light in, and focuses it down onto the smaller sensor of the G7. So it actually, believe it or not, makes your lens sharper as well as increases the light transmitted into the lens by a full 1 1/3 stops, which, you know, makes like a 1.2 aperture lens a 0.8 aperture lens, which is ridiculous. So they're better in low light, they're more light sensitive, as well as increasing how wide the lens is. So let's say you have the 50mm Canon 1.2 lens. You adapt that onto the Panasonic GE7 that I have with the speedbooster. So it would make the f1.2 and f.8, which would, you know, create shallower depth of field. It would make it an effective, more like a 35 or a 36mm lens instead of a 50. So it increases how wide your camera is, it increases the light sensitivity, it makes it sharper. So that was probably still, like, if you're not super into camera stuff, that was probably super technical. But if you're still confused and you're like in the market for a camera, you know, comment down below. I'll help you guys out. I know this isn't really a vlog. I wanted to post something because I didn't post yesterday, and I'm vlogging again today, and the vlog is going to continue. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown of, you know, what the metabones speedbooster does, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, bye, peace, peace.